to tell a story of my first race weekend, but how the heck did I get here? Started with motorcycles on the street, and then I got into track days. So on my last motorcycle track day, we're all girded up, we're delayed getting out on track for some reason, and then we find out the reason for the delay is they're actually still trying to find someone's finger who lost it on track. So that was my last motorcycle track day, and I got into cars. So then I got the S2000 and found cars to be just as much fun, except for when they were letting you down. A lot. So then I got the 911, made it pretty, and took it to the track. So in December of 2018, the opportunity to race presented itself, and you don't have to ask me twice. To race, you're going to need a racing license. For that, you're going to need a decently substantial track history, check, pass the medical, check, and get signed off by a CDI, Chief Driving Instructor. Next, you're going to need gear. A lot of gear. Next, you're going to need a race car, you're going to need a crew. You might think, oh, I don't really need a crew, but try doing a pit stop all by yourself. You know, try managing that car, managing your hydration, and racing hard. Of those three things, you can pick 1.5. So the crew, the car, the tires especially, like probably your biggest expense over the entire weekend is actually just going to be in tires. All that stuff's really expensive and just out of the range for most people, including myself. So having the opportunity to do something like this was just incredible. So anyway, with all that stuff, I'm ready to race. But am I ready to race? So, you know, leading up to going to actually race, a lot of questions come into your mind, and then even people on the outside start kind of offering some doubt for you. I mean, most people were super supportive, but there were definitely some people who were like, I can't believe you're going to go race. You're just going to get destroyed. You're going to be a rolling chicane, you know, just like super slow and just in everybody's way, that kind of stuff. And then, you know, it kind of makes you think and like, is this really something I should be doing? But every time I talk to somebody who was like an actual race car driver, so like all the people who were like questioning or doubting me there were all the same in one regard, and that was they had never raced. So what did they know? Whereas like all the racers themselves, all of them were like unanimously like, yeah, get out here. You know, like they want you to be a part of it. So anyway, I ended up just going ahead and doing it. So the race weekend is here. Thursday is an orientation for the newbies like me, and then Friday is a testing and practice day, which is kind of like a typical track day, except it's kind of like racing rules apply. So there's passing anywhere without a point. And this was my first time experiencing that, and it was really liberating. and it's cool because the responsibility to get by the person is now on you rather than on them to like let you by. And so that was really cool, and it was just cool to be around a lot of people who are really good drivers. Like at a typical DE, you can trust like 10%, whereas at a race weekend, you can trust like 90% of the drivers. So Saturday comes around, and it's qualifying for the first race. You know, my goal for this entire weekend was really just one thing, and that is finish. Like, don't get disqualified, don't get a did not finish because I wadded up the car into a wall, or I collected someone else, or someone else collected me. All right, time for the first race. Somehow I managed to qualify second in class, don't know how that happened. And first in class is that white Cayman up and to the left, number 90. So here we're in a rolling start sort of grid formation, waiting for the green any second now. Boom, there's the green. You can't see it in the video, but we'll pass the green flag here any second. Yeah, right there to the left. So it's a race for turn one. Yeah, you know, I just wanted to finish, but when that flag goes green and everybody around you is like racing and driving hard, you have a couple of choices. You can either drive pretty aggressively and hopefully hold position. You can drive overly aggressively and probably crash into somebody, or you can dial it back a little bit and you're just going to get stomped on. So this was like the first experience of that for me, where it's like, oh my gosh, this is racing. Like you watch it on TV and it looks pretty graceful, but until you're actually in the car and you do it for yourself, you just can't respect how chaotic it is, like, especially at the beginning of the race. It's just insane. But immediately I'm hooked. I mean, the mental challenge here is so high. You're trying to process so many variables, and you have a set amount of time, right? You don't have enough time to process everything. So anyway, incredible. So as the race goes on, things kind of start to settle down. People find their groove, and groups kind of start to form and separate from each other. and I find myself catching up to this group of 4 other cars, and I really need to get by this guy because I'm the caboose in 5 cars. I've got a lot of work ahead of me, and if this group kind of starts to really come together and get closer to each other like they are ahead, it's going to be really hard. So I make the attempt on this turn 1 here, and I just kind of back out. Clearly I don't have it. You can even tell in the video. A lot of times in the video it's hard to see what's going on beside me, but clearly he had the turn. So the rules are whoever is ahead at turn-in kind of has the turn. So if you're not ahead at turn-in, you can't really go for it. I mean, you can, but if there's an incident like someone hits somebody, it's your fault. So anyways, another lap later, I'm coming up behind this guy. I know he's going to try to late brake me again, so I've got it down. I could make the move for it. I definitely have it. You can't even see him in the video, so yeah, it's over for him. You could tell he's unhappy. I had to like basically park it in turn 1, but that's okay. It's my turn. So now there's lots of space between me and the cars ahead. Got to catch them, pass them. Okay, so now I need to figure out how I'm going to pass these next 3 cars. But as you can see, that guy is still behind me, poking his nose in everywhere. So I've got to kind of drive a little defensively, and it's taking away a lot of my options here. So coming around here, he pokes his nose in, and I just can't believe it. He's going for this turn. I think he cut the track, cheated a little bit, but dang it, I'm the caboose again. So here we go. We're coming up to turn 11. Now the one thing that's really nice about these Cayman Clubsports is the braking. So you can outbrake pretty much everybody here. So I decide that's what I'm going to do to this guy. I'm just going to outbrake him coming into 11. Sure enough, brake it, pucker a little bit, and we're good. Basically parked it at turn 11, but we made it. Awesome. So now I start to notice that this guy in front of me, he's like understeering everywhere, and you can see he's correcting, and this car just doesn't seem secure. So my plan is to pass him right here because I'm confident he'll just keep understeering. Sure enough, passed him, threaded that needle nicely. That 997 is like, whoa. But anyway, made it. Awesome. And we're off. So cool. By the way, if you guys are not enjoying the narration, I'm going to post all of the races in the description. So if you just want to watch them in all their glory, you can definitely check them out there. So anyways, coming through turn 19, kind of screwed up a little bit. I'm trying to take a defensive line here. This guy's about to pass me, but I can just squeeze him out just enough. Whew, all set. Great. But then, as you can see, he's gaining on me pretty slowly, but he's gaining on me nonetheless. He's definitely drafting me. He's definitely going to go to pass me here. And sure enough, he goes for it. I have to give it to him. He definitely got it. So I've got to take a wide turn, slow turn through here. Kind of slows me down. He's going slow because he just took the pass. And the other guy goes for it as well. So now I'm side by side with him, and he slowly irks it out. And dang it, I'm the freaking caboose again. So now we're coming through, and now I'm like gotta like reassess all over again. How do I get by these people? So one of the things that's cool is like as things change over time, like and as you pass people, they remember how you passed them. So we're coming up to turn 11 again, and I'm thinking of trying to pass that blue and green Cayman again, just doing the exact same thing I just did to him, because I can outbrake him through that turn. So we're coming up, and I'm just trying to check his body language, but he's kind of over a little bit, and so I'm thinking he's going to go for it, and then he does. But it's definitely too late. And he hits that 997. And the cool thing is, a couple of things. First of all, the reflexes on that 997, freaking incredible. First of all, also, second of all, they're both on track. They're still racing. They just hit each other, but they're still in the race. And the only reason they're pulling back a little bit there is because that Cayman is giving way to the 997 because he just punted him. So anyway, just incredible. Also, that 997, his reflexes, just before the hit, he swerves, and I think that's the only reason both of them are still driving right now. Like, they don't have suspension issues. So just really cool. And yet again, I'm behind the same Cayman. He's understeering again. We're coming to the same spot. I'm thinking maybe I'll try to pass him here, but he blocks it. So again, it's just so cool because you can tell people they remember. And he's like, nope, not again. So I'm like, dang, now how am I going to get by this guy? So we're coming through Carousel, and again, he's clearly understeering. And so I'm like, I'm just not sure if I should try to pass him even like on the outside or something. And then boom, I get by him through the Carousel. And he just like let me by, I'm pretty sure. And then you can see here, he just pits. So I don't know if he was having issues or what, but anyway, whatever. It's now me in this 996. I don't know if this is like a Cup car, a Carrera S, I just don't know. But anyways, we're coming down this, a few laps later, coming down the straight, we approach this Cayman, and I recognize this Cayman. This is a Cayman that's pretty slow, and as traffic comes, they drive offline always. So I know this, 996 doesn't seem to know this. So I get by, and everything's going good, but I'm actually side by side with this 996 right now. You can't see it. Oh, now they're poking out. And I'm like, dang it. But then we come through here, and I'm like, well, I haven't pulled this trick on the 996. So I do it to him. Finally, I am by this guy. The relief. So now at this point, there's literally no one else in sight. We've been held up for too long. The race is too close to the end. So this is it. I just kind of make sure he's not gaining on me and no one else is gaining on me. And this is just the end of the race. So in the race, I finished second in class because there's like a million classes of cars. So I finished second in class and then improved my positions in 6 places overall from qualifying. So that was actually really cool. And then I just like learned a lot about racing because really nothing can prepare you for like a real race. So I did practice race starts, and we, obviously there's qualifying where people were trying their hardest to get fast laps, and there was the whole day of Friday that was like practice days, but everybody drives way different when it's a real race and the flag goes green and what hits the fan. So I learned a lot about all that. And then also just realizing, oh my gosh, like how much more mentally challenging racing is as opposed to just track driving. I mean, you're trying to manage like 6 cars in front of you and watch for at least 3 cars behind you. You're trying to find those holes and predict there's like some sort of gap's going to occur, but you also have to predict what all those other cars are going to do. So that's like just the most mentally demanding thing I've ever had to do. I've worked on some really hard problems in my time, but the difference in racing is like you have a fixed period of time that's like really short to process a huge number of variables. So yeah, awesome. Just really cool. All right, so about an hour later, it's time for race 2. I'm starting in P3, but position 2, 3, and 4 are actually pretty close in qualifying times. So we're actually really close to each other at the start. Position 1 is Nicole. She's somewhere miles up ahead. She's just better than everybody. So we're not really competing against Nicole yet. So now the flag goes green. I'm trying to go into the inside, but then it gets blocked. So kind of screwed here. You can see in the rear view that came in with the bright orange kind of window visor thing. That's position 4, and then the orange came in as position, the other guy, basically. You can't see him here. I'll point him out as soon as you can see him. But really quickly in this race, we're all 3 really tight, and it's just an incredible battle initially. You can see so the orange came in that rear video for a second there. That's the other guy. And then the guy right to my right now, that's position 2, 3, 4. It varies throughout the race. Actually, I don't think he was ever in 4th. But anyways, we are like side by side right now. You can't see him, but he's forcing me to take a wide line here. So coming through here, just trying to do whatever I can to make some separation between me and these 2 other guys in my class. So coming around here, I'm kind of screwed. I'm pretty sure I'm still, so I'm side by side with that guy. So right there, right behind me with that bright orange reddish thing. That's now I'm in P2, he's in P3, and the orange Cayman is P4. So coming through here, I'm trying to pass that gray Cayman. It's just not happening. He goes wider than I thought he was going to go, so he definitely has me there. So we're coming down here. If I recall, right off to my right, yeah, there he is. So that's George, number 744. So he's definitely got me here, but I'm looking up ahead, and I'm just praying that the Cayman in front of me doesn't underbrake, and I can definitely pass him because that guy has no options. So I go ahead and make the pass here. I basically have to park it through this turn, but good, I've made it, but he's actually still off to my right. You can't see him, but he's there. So now I've got to like turn in a little late here. I'm coming around, I'm fighting this guy, and then he's by me. So now I'm in trouble. Now I'm back to P3. Dang it, P4 is right behind me. This is a crazy battle. Coming through here, I'm trying to pass number 744. Can't quite get it done though, and there he still is. And now I'm getting pushed wide by, I believe it was the Spec 997. We'll see here in a second, but I'm just in trouble. You definitely don't want to be in the paint. The grip sucks. And yeah, you can sort of see the guy there. We'll see what happens coming up to this turn. Yeah, there he is. So now I'm in P3. P4 is literally right behind me there. And yeah, so then P4 tries to make the move, and I'm like, no, squeezed him out. And that's like a perfect example of the aggression that you've got to have. It's like this perfect balance that you've got to strike where he wants to be aggressive enough to try to take that pass, but for me, I have to be aggressive enough to say no and trust that he's going to not be too aggressive. So then up ahead, we got a yellow flag. Someone is spun out here. Hopefully everybody knows and doesn't try to pass me. We get by that, no problem. Can you imagine how scary it would be to be that car? Like, as people are coming up the hill, they can't see you, you can't see them, but they're coming fast. It's tight brake zone. What if someone blows it? Freaking scary. So some time goes by, battling for position 2 again. You can see the orange Cayman in the rear view camera there, but they've kind of dropped back, so they're not really in contention anymore. So now it's me and this other guy fighting for P2. So we're coming up. I can't really decide, should I try to pass this guy in the turn 11 coming up? You've seen me do a couple of passes there, but he's kind of holding a defensive line, so I'm just not sure what his plan is there. Then he pops over like he's gonna pass. I have no idea. It was way too late, but now he screwed himself for this turn. I go wide, I get a nice run up on him, and I'm already on him. And then I go to pass him. I just shouldn't have done that. That was like my main issue for like the entire weekend. Like in a DE and track days, you really don't hug behind somebody because you can't trust that they're gonna have smart brake zones. So I have this habit of popping out. I should have drafted him for way longer and then popped out at the end. But if I had done that, that guy that just tried to pass me there or thought about passing me, he would have blocked me and then I would have been screwed. But anyway, number 744, the guy I'm fighting right now, he's actually right to my right. He's there this whole time. I wish I had a side camera, but there he is there. He's still there. He's still there. I'm trying to hold the inside because I can't just drive into him. He's still there. And I'm finally by that guy. That took forever. Now I am P2. Feels good. So where's P1? Well, time for the easiest position 1 ever. We've got a yellow flag going. Here I go, coming through turn 20. There's P1 off to the right there. Nicole. She had a mechanical. Sucks. I didn't want to get P1 that way. But I got a trophy for that race. So day 3 comes, we have a 60-minute enduro. To put this in perspective, the other like sprint races were like 22 to 25 minutes or something like that. A 60-minute enduro is a long time to be behind the wheel. There is a 5-minute required pit stop somewhere in there. Like you can do it anywhere between the first 15, after the first 15 minutes, and I think before the last 10 minutes. But you kind of do a little bit of strategizing there, and I'll talk about that in a second. But first of all, we weren't even sure if we were going to make it. So even though there's a pit stop required, you could not fuel. So you were not allowed to fuel in the pit stop. Really weird. So anyway, we're worried that we're not even going to make it in the fuel numbers. Like we crunched the numbers like 25 times. And it was always going to be really close. So that was a problem. And then also just in the warm-up that morning and qualifying that morning, we were having overheating issues with the car, and that was occurring after like 10 minutes. So we weren't really sure we were going to make it. The engineers, again, like I said before, super useful. They did what they could with some heat shielding, but we really weren't sure, hey, are we going to be able to make this or not? Finally, my #1 competition for the Enduro was going to do a driver change after we knew like the first 15 minutes, and he was going to change to a driver that was way faster than me, someone much better than me. So all these things came together and was like, man, I was so sure that there's no way we could win that Enduro. So day 3 is here, and now it's time for a 60-minute Enduro. So I qualified in second in class again, in that orange Cayman. To the up ahead and to the right is my competition to pass. So this is the start. You've seen the starts before. You know how crazy they are. Obviously, I'm just monitoring where he's at, and you can see all those cars kind of bunched up to the right. So I'm pretty confident I can even just get by him after turn 1. And it's essential I get by him because me and him are about the exact same pace. But after 15 minutes, we already know there's going to be a driver change. And there we go. I've passed him here. Anyway, after 15 minutes, we already know, and someone just tries to push me off track there. We already know they're going to change into a much faster driver, like someone who's 3 seconds a lap faster than me, and that's huge. So now it's just a function of trying to make the gap between me and him as large as possible before his son hops in the car and catches all back up to me. And then also, basically, as soon as he pits, we're going to try to pit. That way we can kind of minimize some of the variables. So once we've pit, a full course yellow comes out while we're in the pit, and in racing, that's like a seriously good stroke of luck, because that means everyone else is on track. Like, while you're in pit doing nothing, everyone else is on track having to drive much slower, whereas like while other people pit, I was driving on track at full speed, including my competition in that orange Cayman. So after driving around slow for a while with the full course yellow, we're about to go back to the green flag, but we're not in like that grid formation. We're in like single file, so like when that flag goes green, I can't even see it. So thankfully we're on a radio with the engineer who calls it when the flag goes green. And so it's green, and already some people have spun, gone off, and there's just like as usual, starts and restarts are always super hectic. But at least right now I don't see that orange Cayman, so I've got a pretty good gap on him so far, but eventually he shows up. So yeah, 5 minutes later, there's Russell on my tail, and I know if he gets by me, even if he can get by me and get through the next like maybe turn or two after he's gotten by me, it's pretty much game over. So now I have to hold him off until the end of the race, and he's just a better driver, so that's going to be really hard. So let's talk about the rules real quick. In general, in racing, blocking is not allowed. So as the leading driver, you get one move per turn, and that's kind of like to assert your line. So you can't just like, swerve left and right to stop someone from passing you. That's not allowed. That's called blocking. So for the person trying to pass, you can do anything you want. The only rules for you apply like with, you have to stay on track, like, so you can't exceed the track limits. And you have to pay attention to the whole like who's ahead at turn-in. But if you're the chasing car and you're ahead at turn-in, you have the turn, and you're probably gonna pass that person. The other thing to note is like if you're on the inside of the turn and you're ahead at turn-in, even if it is your turn, so that means in theory you can push the other person basically off track. Obviously this rule gets superseded by another rule like leave racing room. But it's honestly a really gray area and can get really close. So here's a quick example from earlier in the race, and this is not with the faster driver. This is still, his dad is in the car right now, and we're coming up to turn 20, and he's going for the pass. I personally think it was pretty close, but who knows? And I'm trying to get back on, but nope, he's holding there, and I'm literally like in the grass. And then I have no choice but to get behind him. So even if you think that you have that turn, part of your job is like no one wants to hit anybody, right? So the rules really only apply if there's contact. If there's not contact, you can do whatever you want. So yeah, so my job as a driver here is to try to stay in front of Russell and read what he's telegraphing and kind of try to predict what he's going to do, because I only get one move to try to defend. And you can see here he tries to follow that faster car, because I needed to let that faster car by. It's a cup car, definitely should let him by. But then Russell tries to sneak by, and he actually gets by. And now I know I have no choice. I have to get by him as soon as possible, but I get blocked. And no doubt about it, Russell knew I would get blocked by that other car, but I'm just trying to squeeze, sort of get him a little bit there. I've got no option to go the inside line, but I'm still going. You can see he's right next to me. I get on the throttle just a little sooner, and I've squeezed him out. And yeah, that was really difficult. And like, yeah, sometimes the traffic works in your favor, sometimes it's a little against you, but that's the kind of stuff you gotta start paying attention to. So yeah, just a really close battle there. And then there, I'm not really sure. I think that guy's going off to pit or something. Caught me by surprise, and there's Russell on my tail again. Luckily, it's a yellow flag, so I know he can't pass there. But you have to stay on throttle because he can pass by the next turn, unless that turn had a yellow flag. So yeah, sometimes traffic's going to work against you, but in this case, this is an example of trying to use traffic to your advantage. So I kind of pegged this 997 here as someone I can use to cover options. So what you can do is use them to block one of the options for the person behind you. So I get over here, I have no intention to pass the 997 on the inside there. All I'm trying to do is that 997 sort of blocks Russell to take the outside, I block the inside, all set. Same thing again here. I'm just covering it. I didn't actually want to pass him. But then he goes a little wide and is kind of slow, so then I decide, okay, I have to pass him. I can't just hang behind him because otherwise Russell in that orange car is going to pass him and me. So I'm by him, and then Russell comes over, and then I decide, you know what? I lift and I brake really hard, really early, and Russell has nowhere to go. He can't get over. He gets too slow for that turn, and then I get right back in front of that 997, but the 997 is able to stay in front of Russell because I basically just parked it in turn 1. So that worked out really well, and since it's so hard to pass in the S's, I'm pretty confident Russell's going to get held up all the way through here, and sure enough, he does. So that was like perfection. That was probably my best use of traffic the entire weekend. Eventually, he does get by that 997, but it takes him a while, and it gives me an opportunity because he's heating up his tires a lot, he's working really hard to get by, and meanwhile, I'm just kind of taking it easy, let my tires cool back down again, and so, anyway, yeah, that was a really cool moment for the weekend, but soon he's back on my tail, putting the pressure on, but yeah, an awesome, epic fight. So yeah, it was basically that for like 15 minutes straight. That's the most pressure I think I've ever been under. And it's like, it's so hard not to mess up. And like in your mind, you keep thinking like, especially like towards the end, we did like 3 extra laps. And so the whole time I'm like, you just start thinking like, man, how bad would it be if I messed up right here? I've held him off for this long. What if he gets by? That would be the story. And you gotta like push those thoughts out. And so yeah, you gotta just keep driving like these perfect laps and do everything just right. So yeah, that was a really cool battle. And after that, you know, he came up and congratulated me and just said like, man, I just tried everything I could on you. And it was really, really cool. And like, that's the sort of thing you never get at a track day. Like when you just go to a regular track day, it's just you and your car and like the lap time or something. There's not really much to it. Whereas in a race, there's just so much more going on and it's so much more challenging. That it's just something totally different. I just thought racing would be like a slight step up from a DE, but really racing is like another level entirely. So anyways, that's my first race weekend. Just an incredible experience. I'm super thankful that I could do it. I learned so much, including just like how important it is to have a team with you. Like again, at a track day, it's just you and your car. But like at a race, like you really need all these people and like the engineers keeping the car running, had a coach that's like helping me improve my driving and kind of like keeping the team together really. I mean, like we definitely would not have won for sure the Enduro without the coach, because I was ready to just say, hey, let's just make sure we can finish this race. And the engineer, or the engineers, their goal is, yeah, keep the car running. Let's do what we can to make sure we can finish. And so, but as a team, your job is to try to win. So anyway, yeah, with all these people coming together, it was just such an awesome experience that, you know, I knew it was going to be cool. I just did not know it was going to be that cool. So anyway, maybe I'll get to race sometime in the future. We'll see. But I'm super stoked to have had the opportunity to do it. So yeah, if anybody wants to sponsor a race car, let me know. Anyway, back to our regularly scheduled programming now. This is a 997.2 Porsche Carrera S. And today, I'm going to give it a Doug score.